What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm CJ, this is Out of Bounds, and in today's video we've got another PrizePicks NBA board breakdown for January 13th. It's a little past noon here on the East Coast. So the reason I mention the time in these videos is because the projections you're going to see in this video change throughout the day, in case you didn't know that. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. On Out of Bounds, we talk about everything sports related, off the field sports stories, daily fantasy sports. We do a little bit of everything. So if you're into sports like I am, definitely hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, like this video, drop down to the comments section. I love seeing what you guys have to say and interacting on a daily basis. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into the projections today. First off, we've got Luka Doncic projected for 52 points. Dallas Mavericks taking on the Charlotte Hornets at 7:10 p.m. today. So let's take a look at Luka across the industry. Starting with Roto Grinders, they've got him at 54 points, so slightly over 54 for Luka there. Over on Fantasy Pros, they've got him at 51.6. Let's round that up to 52 to make it nice and clean. And then over here, they've got him at 51.6 as well, so 52, we'll call that one. And then we pop into the game logs for Luka. As we know, Luka's been playing a bit better lately than he was to start the season. His last game, 51.2, 78.3, 60. Missed the game prior to that one, but as you can see, some strong game logs for Luka Doncic. This will be his first time. Nope, I take that back. This will be his second time facing Charlotte. The first time he faced Charlotte, he only played 24 minutes, putting up just 24.9 fantasy points in the process. So not a very good game, but one that I probably wouldn't hang my hat on. Luka's been playing a lot more minutes lately, 37, 43, 34. So I expect him to get 30 plus minutes in this one. In fact, he's projected for 36 minutes tonight. If we look at the game totals here, Dallas is a slight favorite over Charlotte, 112 to 107. Not enough of a spread there for me to be concerned about a blowout. Last night was crazy. If you played last night, some of the guys that we expected to do well, some of the games that we expected to stay close, didn't. Devastating night. I had a sea of red on all my PrizePick lineups, and I am hurting. I'm hurting today. I'm gonna have to probably reload and get back on the horse and ride. But anyway, Dallas is projected to score 112 points. Luka's a combo guard. Combo guards have struggled against Charlotte to start the season here. They rank 5th against combo guards. But Luka's putting up a massive 1.5 fantasy points per minute. Guys, it doesn't get much better than 1.5 fantasy points per minute. So Luka Doncic is a guy that we can trust most nights. And I think I like the over on his projection of 52. On the other side of the ball, one guy that we took the over on a couple nights ago and who has been just on a tear lately is rookie Lamelo Ball. Obviously, he takes on the Dallas Mavericks tonight. He's projected at 36 points. Let's take a look at Lamelo and see where they like him. 36.75 on Roto Grinders. On Fantasy Pros, LaMelo's projected for 34.4, and then on RotoWire, they've got LaMelo Ball at 37.47. So 36, 34, 37. He's around that 30, we'll say 35 to 37 point range. Let's look at the game logs real quick. 46 in his last game, 54 in the game prior to that. I believe that's the game where he became the youngest player to record a triple-double. Then looking at some of the other games here, 37.5, 29, 37.9, 41.3. So his projection tonight of 36? That seems a bit light based on recent game logs. He's been going over 36 in a majority of his last few games, except for this one here against Atlanta. His first matchup against Dallas, he played over 29 minutes, ended up finishing with 43.1 PrizePicks points. You got to love that. That's a good sign of hopefully things to come tonight. And then scrolling across the board here, he's projected for 30 minutes. The Hornets are projected to score 107.75 points. He's a distributor type of guard, which I kind of contest. I think he's more of a combo guard, but I digress. The matchup against Dallas, not the easiest one, but we saw what he could do in a previous matchup against Dallas, so I'm not worried about that. And this is probably the most impressive stat of all. This guy is a rookie, and he's averaging 1.34 fantasy points per minute, which is second only to the aforementioned Luka Doncic. So really like Lamelo Ball in this spot. I think this is a game where he can continue his streaks of going over 36 fantasy points. I like him for the over, and I'm actually going to get this out of the way. Let's make Lamelo Ball the lock of the night. I feel real strong about Lamelo, the matchup, the total, the spread. Everything looks pretty good for Lamelo, so he'll be in a lot of my lineups for this evening. Let's move on from this game, though. We got a few games to talk about today. So Giannis Antecic, another guy that started off the season being projected very high by PrizePicks. He's been down in the 51, 52 point range lately. Giannis has been, I guess you could call it the victim of some blowouts in certain games this year, but let's take a look and see where they like him. They've got him projected for 53.86. That's enough for me to call it 54, so that's 54 on Giannis. That would be an over. 50 over on Fantasy Pros, and then finally, the Wire, they've got him at 46, so quite a big under versus where he's at on PrizePicks tonight. If we crack open the game logs for Giannis, you'll see the last game he only played 27 minutes, put up just 40 PrizePicks points. He missed the previous game against Cleveland. Going against Utah, he put up 51, 38 here, 59, 65, 64. So we know he's got 60-point upside. We know he can get it done. His previous two games against Detroit, he put up 59.8 in one and then 38.6 in the other. So a huge swing there, a 21-point difference between those two meetings against Detroit. So kind of hard to base anything off of his previous games against Detroit because he had one that was really strong and then one that was really weak. So he's projected to play 32 minutes tonight. The Bucks are projected to score 118.5 points. He's a versatile forward, and versatile forwards against Detroit have struggled. They're 8th against versatile forwards this season, but a whopping 1.6 fantasy points per minute for Giannis. We know what the guy can do when he's out on the floor getting minutes. There's no doubt he'll crush for you as long as he's out there playing. So let's look at the game total and the spread here. It looks like Milwaukee is a 10.5 point favorite, guys. So in this situation, as good as everything else looks, you got to keep in mind that the blowout could be a factor here for Giannis. I think I did take the over on Giannis the other night whenever he was playing against Orlando. He ended up just playing 27 minutes. Fell way short. I think his projection was 51 that night. So this may be a good spot for you to go under on Giannis in the 52-point projection. It may be way too high if he doesn't get a full complement of minutes. On the other side of the ball, we haven't talked a ton about Derrick Rose this season. Let's see if D Rose has any type of over or under, if we could figure it out here. He's not listed at point guard. Let's see if he's under shooting guard. There he is. He's a shooting guard these days. So he's projected for 26, we'll call it, over on Roto Grinders. On Fantasy Pros, where are you, buddy? Maybe I'm missing him. Oh, yep, I'm missing him. 26.8. Sorry about that, guys. 26.8 on Fantasy Pros. And then finally, looking at RotoWire, they've got him projected at 24.65. Let's call it 25. So like the 25, 26 range, that seems about right for D Rose. Let's look at his game logs real quick. 15 in his last one, 12 in the one before that. Big one here, though, 41.4, 25.2, 31, 31. So he had this streak of 4 games here where he was just going well over 25 in most of them. But direct correlation here, if he's only going to play 11 minutes, 19 minutes, I mean, we can't trust this guy. We can't trust him in our lineups. Tonight they have him projected for 24 minutes, which would be better. I mean, I would feel a little bit better about playing him. The Pistons are only projected to score 108 points. He's considered to be a combo guard at this stage in his career. And Milwaukee ranked 7th against combo guards. This is another situation with Derrick Rose, with Blake Griffin, these older veterans. If this game turns into a blowout, guys, they're not going to be the ones that are getting those late third quarter, entire fourth quarter minutes down the stretch. I mean, they're going to be on the bench icing their kneecaps. So Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose, I mean, if these guys get there, it's going to have to be in the first 2 to 3.5 quarters, maybe 2 to 3 quarters. So it may not be a situation that you want to touch, or if you do, go under on a guy like Rose, probably under on a guy like Blake, because this game's looking like a blowout. Karis Levert. Oh, my. We had high hopes for Karis Levert last night. Unfortunately, Karis Levert came up, I believe it was like 1.5 points short of his over, something like that, 1 or 2 points. So big blow to me, and I'm sure to many of you who played Karis Levert. Tonight, he's projected for 28 minutes, 31.69. Let's call it 32. 32 for Karis Levert on Roto Grinders. Over on Fantasy Pros, they like him for 31. So we've got a 32, a 31, and finally, a 43. Where'd that come from? So a 32, a 31, and then a huge over at 43. The guy can do it. He can definitely do it. But last night, the rotations were a little weird on Karis Levert. Like, he sat out for like 10 of the minutes or something like that in the third quarter. Like, he was pretty much not involved in the third quarter whatsoever, which I don't know. I don't know what Steve Nash is doing, without Kyrie in there. Maybe he's trying to kind of keep Kevin Durant and Karis Levert fresh. I have no idea. It was bizarre. You could see he only played 25.8 minutes last night. Maybe Nash was thinking about the back-to-back. I have no clue. 35 minutes the previous night, ended up with 32 points there, 53 points, 50 points, 36.7. So, I mean, we know what Karis Levert can do. The guy can put up stats and fantasy points in a hurry for you. But last night's rotations were just super weird for Brooklyn. Looking at his projections tonight, 28 minutes is his projected minutes total. The Nets are projected to score 112.75. He is a scoring wing, and scoring wings against the Knicks have struggled this season. They rank number 1 against scoring wings. This is a back-to-back, as we mentioned, for Karis Levert. Also 3 games in 4 nights, but the dude puts up 1.27 fantasy points per minute. If we look at the totals in the spread, Brooklyn's expected to score 112.75 to the Knicks, 106.75. So there's a 6-point spread there. Maybe on a back-to-back, this game stays a bit closer than the spread indicates. But at any rate, I'm not really afraid here, or not really worried about the Nets blowing out the Knicks for the Battle of New York. I think this game does stay pretty competitive and pretty close for the most part. So, hopefully we can go back to the well with guys like Karis Levert, with guys like Kevin Durant, who's only projected for 50. Let's talk about KD real quick. KD did awesome for us last night. KD absolutely crushed. He played, plenty of minutes, got us plenty of points. Actually, I wish that they would have put him on the bench a little bit more and played Karis Levert more than they did, but at any rate, he's projected for 52.29 over on Roto Grinders, over on Fantasy Pros, and they've got Kevin Durant at 45 tonight, and Roto Wire's got KD at 45.48. So there you have it. They're kind of all over the board on Kevin Durant. As we mentioned, strong game last night, 57.3. He looked really good, guys. I don't know if you watched the game. I did. I watched most of it because I had a lot of Kevin Durant. I had a lot of Karis Levert. I had a lot of Nikola Jokic. So I was locked in. I was tuned into this game. But look at what Kevin Durant's done in his last 2. I mean, KD looks like he's back. Earlier in the season they said KD's 90%. I think this is 95%, maybe 100%, the best we've seen from KD. So 54, 57 in his last 2, playing big minutes, 37 and 35. He's going to be asked to play a lot of minutes without his wingman, without his sidekick, Kyrie Irving, who is MIA. He's partying without a mask on. He's just living it up. He showed up on somebody's Zoom meeting last night. I don't get it, but whatever, Kyrie, you do your thing. KD's projected for 36 minutes tonight. They're projected, the Nets, to score 112.75 points. He's a versatile forward, and on the season, the Knicks have ranked third against versatile forwards. Of course, as we mentioned with Levert, this is a back-to-back for Kevin Durant as well. 3 games and 4 nights, averaging 1.4 fantasy points per minute. So there you have it on KD. I think the 50 is a bit light, guys. I think the 50 is too low. Let's back up for a second. Let's talk about one of the guys on the other side of the ball that you guys like to play a lot and are always asking about, Julius Randle, projected for 44 tonight. Not sure if it was his last game or if it was a couple games back, but he had a pretty big game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was a couple nights ago. He had 45.5, but we'll get into that in just a minute. He's projected for, let's call it 45 over on Roto Grinders. On Fantasy Pros, he's projected for 43, and then on Roto Wire, he's projected for 40. We'll call it 43. Okay, so there you go. And then if we take a look at his game logs now, 23.5. It was a down game for him last time. He only played 30 minutes for a guy who's been getting consistent minutes at 37 plus per night, as you can see in the game logs here. 30 minutes here is a big down spiral for Julius Randle. 38 minutes in his last game, put up 45.5 points. Only 30 minutes in that game, he put up 43.9, but then you got 54, 57, so his ceiling is in that 55 to 60 point range on any given night. I forgot to look. Does he have a previous game log against Brooklyn? He does not. First time meeting Brooklyn for the Battle of New York. Going across the board here, he is projected to play 37 minutes tonight. They have the Knicks scoring 106.75 points. He's a versatile big, and versatile bigs against Brooklyn have typically done well this season. Brooklyn only ranks 24th against versatile bigs. So there you have it on Julius Randle. Maybe the 44 isn't quite enough if the game stays close. The matchup looks good. We know what Randle can do. So let's go down the list here. I've sworn off Dillon Brooks, but you guys, I think, were on Dillon Brooks the other night, and he ended up doing pretty well for you. So let's see if Dillon Brooks has any merit tonight. Maybe we could figure out if Brooks is going over or under. What do they have, Matt? Shooting guard? Looks like he's a shooting guard over on FanDuel. They like the over on Brooks by quite a bit, 29.49. Over on Fantasy Pros, they've got Dillon Brooks listed at 27.6, so that's a slight over for Brooks there as well. And then finally, RotoWire, they've got Dillon Brooks at 29.54, so they like the over on Brooks as well. So a couple of big overs for Brooks. That's looking pretty good, pretty promising, but do we trust him? Do we trust him after getting burned so badly by Brooks in the past? 39.9 in his last game against Cleveland, 27.8 against Brooklyn, 24.4 against Cleveland. I think that was the game that we were on Brooks for the over, and Brooks did not deliver. Guy couldn't buy a bucket, shot terribly. Yeah, 4 for 13 in that game. But as you can see, the mid to upper 20 fantasy point range is realistic for Brooks. He's projected to play 29 minutes tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies are projected to score 109 points as a team. He is a scoring wing. Scoring wings, they rank really well against Minnesota this season. Minnesota's just 29th, which puts them, at the bottom of the league as far as scoring, guarding scoring wings, that is. And Brooks, he's just over 1 fantasy point per minute at 1.01. So there you have it. Brooks over, looking pretty good. Moving down the list, we've talked enough about D'Angelo Russell on the channel. Let's talk Malik Beasley. He and D'Lo have kind of been holding it down as far as scoring punch for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 27 is his projection tonight. I think 27 has been something that Beasley has been hitting with regularity here lately. Let's look at the small forward position. I believe he's listed at small forward. Nope. Yep, there he is. Malik Beasley, projected for 28.1 over on Roto Grinders. Had to go down the list to find him. 27.3 on Fantasy Pros. And finally, RotoWire has Malik Beasley at 29.3. So some slight overs on Beasley tonight, which is kind of where I was thinking he should be. In his last game, 27.6 against the Spurs. Another game against the Spurs, 34.8. Game before that, only 19.8. But then he goes 27.2, 48.9. So tonight's projection of 27 is a fair one. I would say it's a fair one. But I do think it's one that he can go over. Guys playing pretty big minutes, 35, 40, 37, 38. So let's look across the board here and see. Man, why do I keep losing this guy? 34 minutes is his projected total tonight. The T-Wolves are projected to score 112.5 points. He's a combo guard, and the Grizzlies, they rank third against combo guards, so not a very easy matchup. And unfortunately for us, he only averages 0.88 fantasy points per minute, which puts him quite a bit under the 1.0 gold standard for fantasy points per minute that we look for when we roster these guys. So there you have it on Malik Beasley. Moving right along, another guy that let us down last night. For those who took SGA, who took the over on SGA, including myself, I don't tell you guys that these guys are my locks and then don't go play them. I played him. He didn't come through for me either. He's back on the board tonight, guys, so let's talk about him. 38 is his projection. They've got him right on the money at 38 on Roto Grinders. Fantasy Pros, they've got SGA at 41.3, so a sizable over for Fantasy Pros on SGA. And then we'll round this up to 38. So we'll say two of the sites are around that 38-point range, and then one's got them a few points over 38. Opening up the game logs, we'll see last night's disappointment, 31.8. He just didn't get there for us, guys. Just didn't get it done. But his previous 3 games led us to believe that maybe he could have gotten it done because he put up 55, 47, 53. That's what we wanted to see. That's the SGA we all wanted. Didn't happen. Does he do it tonight against the Lakers? I mean, I don't know. We don't have a previous game log to look at for him versus LA. He is projected to play 34 minutes. They're only projected to put up 104.25 points, which is one of the lowest totals for any team on tonight's slate. He's a combo guard, and the Lakers rank 16th against combo guards. As we know, this is a back-to-back. It is also a 3 games in 4 nights situation for SGA, but he is averaging 1.16 fantasy points per minute, so you love to see that. The potential's there. I just don't know that based on the matchup, based on the spread here. The spread's worrisome. LA's projected to score over 112 points, while OKC's projected to score over 104 points, so that's an 8-point spread. Lakers could run away with this one. Got to pay attention to the Anthony Davis, LeBron James health situation and see what is happening there. So SGA, it's going to be hard to trust you tonight, my friend. LeBron, however, 46 points. I think last night, or in recent nights anyway, he was projected for 48. I think Anthony Davis was also up there at 48. I hate when PrizePicks does that, starts jumping around. Anyway, they were both projected for 48 in recent days, but LeBron hasn't really been hitting that 48-point mark too often. Yeah, 41, 40, 42. But let's look at his projections across the industry here. 45.27 on Roto Grinders, so they like the slight under on LeBron. Fantasy Pros, they've got King James at 48.2, so they like the slight over on LeBron. And The Wire, last but not least, they've got LeBron at 40, let's call it 41. I think that's fair. 41 for LeBron there. Back to the game logs real quick. 41.1, 40.9, 42.9. It's been hard for this guy to get anything over 45 in his last 3 games. I mean, not that he can't. We know he can based on 48 here, 50, 50, 56, 54. The game logs show that King James still has it. But the minutes have been down in his last few games. 29, 30. All right, 34, that's more reasonable. 32. So we got to hope that LeBron plays a full run of minutes, but it doesn't look like he will, right? Because this game could blow out. So if you're going to take LeBron, I don't mind LeBron maybe like first half, maybe a first half over on LeBron, hoping that he comes out and just crushes it. He's projected to play 33 minutes tonight. Lakers are projected to score 112.25 points. As a versatile forward, he's got a good matchup against OKC. They rank 24th against versatile forwards, so not a bad matchup for LeBron. He is on a back-to-back, 3 games in 4 nights, and puts up a whopping 1.41 fantasy points per minute. Very strong total or average for LeBron James. So when he's out there, he does well. But how long will he be out there in a projected potential blowout? That's for you to decide. So the next guy we have up is Zion Williamson. Again, I've talked about it in previous videos. Zion Williamson was a guy coming into the season that was always up in that mid-40 range on PrizePicks as far as his projections go. Well, they're catching up, guys. They're on to our ways. We were taking the under on Zion to start the season, and it was working out for us more often than not. But now, at 37 points, it makes us stop and think a little bit harder before we click the under on Zion. He's projected for a little bit over 38 points on Roto Grinders. Over on Fantasy Pros, they've got him at, let's call it 37. And then Roto Wires got Zion at 33. So quite a bit lower than the other 2 sites. Can we take a look at the game logs and learn more about Zion Williamson in recent games? His last game, he went barely over 37 at 37.1. Previous 2 games, 44.7, 42. So that would put him easily over tonight's projection of 37. But then you go back a little bit further, 30, 16, 24, 48, 50, 31. So 37. It's a tricky number, guys. It's a tricky number. We can't just lock and load the under on Zion Williamson anymore. When that 37's on the board, we have to stop and we have to think. No previous games against the Los Angeles Clippers to look at. Projected for 34 minutes tonight. Only projected to score 105.25 points are the New Orleans Pelicans. He's a versatile forward. And the Clippers rank 11th against versatile forwards, so a tough matchup for Zion. And then the fantasy points per minute, 1.14, kind of low for a guy that's like this, gifted athlete, right? 1.14. You would think he'd be up there with like the Giannis's of the world, with the even the Lukas of the world. But Zion, pretty disappointing at 1.14 fantasy points, although it's still over 1, so that's strong. That's a strong average, just not where I thought maybe he would be. So there you have it with Zion. Proceed with caution. On the other side of the ball, Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, 45 is his projection tonight, taking on New Orleans. Let's look at the small forward position here. They've got Kawhi projected at 45.74 over on Roto Grinders. And then on Fantasy Pros, they've got Kawhi Leonard at 44.7. So they kind of are lining up here on Kawhi Leonard so far. And then the final site, The Wire, 43.25 for Kawhi. Let's look at game logs. His last game, 50.4. 50.4 against Chicago. His previous 2, 37 and 30. The game before that, 57. Which Kawhi Leonard will we get tonight? When he puts up 37, or when he gets 37, 38 minutes of run, he's putting up 57, 50 fantasy points. So let's hope, even going back here rather, 38, 61. So let's hope that Kawhi gets a full run of minutes tonight. They've got him projected at 34 minutes. The Clippers are projected to score 112.75 points. He's a versatile forward. This is kind of a middle-of-the-road matchup and an average matchup for Kawhi Leonard, so I'm not too worried about the matchup here. He does put up 1.31 fantasy points per minute, a very, very healthy average for Kawhi Leonard. And game total, the Clippers are 112.75, New Orleans 105.25, so this game should stay close. it should stay close, but we've said that a couple of times, and it doesn't always work out in our favor. Let's hope it does if you take the over on Kawhi Leonard tonight. PG, he hasn't been featured on the channel a whole lot this season. Let's talk about him real quick. 42 is his projection over on PrizePicks. 42.5 is his projection over on Roto Grinders. So they're pretty much on the money with the 42. Let's see where they like him on Fantasy Pros. They've got him at 39.9. Easy. We'll round it up to 40. So that would be a slight under on PG. And then finally on the wire, they've got him at 43.87. Let's call it 44. So, you know, the projections are a little shaky, right? They're not all like nice and neat at 43 or 44. They're all kind of up and down. His last game, 53.9. Previous two, 39 and 39. Missed the game against San Antonio, but prior to that, 52, 56, 48. So this guy's got that upper 40, low 50 type of potential on any given night. He's just been a little shaky, like I said, a little up and down, and I think that is reflected in his projections across the industry tonight. So what do you guys think on Paul George? He's quite a puzzle to try and figure out. He is projected for 36 minutes tonight. Again, the Clippers are projected to score a little over 112 to 113 points as a team. He's a versatile forward. Versatile forwards, again, don't really have an issue with them against New Orleans. And he puts up 1.23 fantasy points per minute. So there you have it on PG. Be careful with him and Kawhi. Those guys have just been really, really tough to figure out. Moving down the list here, I see two of my favorite plays, and they both play for Portland. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. Why are they my favorite plays? Well, because I just keep clicking under on Dame, and it just seems to be working out more often than not, especially when he's at this like 46, 47 projected points. Let's see if there's any validity to that statement tonight. Dame is projected for 46.16, so let's call it 46, which would be a slight... No, that would be a tie. Not a slight under, but a tie. Slight tie there. Over on Fantasy Pros, 42.8, and then on RotoWire, they've got Dame set up at 43.64. He's a game time decision, guys. You know, I didn't go over news at the top of the show like I do in some videos, but if you're in the Discord channel, by the way, link to the Discord in the description of this video. If you're in the Discord channel, keep an eye on the NBA news channel. That feed has been invaluable to me. I love going there. I love getting all of the latest NBA injury news, starting lineup news, who's in, who's out. I love going to that little channel, but you're going to want to check that out and make sure that there's nothing going on with Damian Lillard that might make you a little worried about taking him over or under tonight. Popping into the game logs real quick. As I said, going under on Dame more nights than not when he's projected in that mid-40s range has worked out this season. His last two games, only 33 points. Game before that, 65.9. Bit of an outlier when you look at the rest of his game log, right? 43 here, 37 here. Here's a big one, 52, but then 31, 41. So, guys, most nights we're taking the under on Damian Lillard when he's projected in the mid-40s. We do have a couple of game logs that we can reference here against Sacramento. Well, at least one anyway. He played only 29 minutes, just a little over 29 minutes. Shot terribly though, 5 for 16. Ended the night with just 33.8. I don't think Dame Lillard's completely healthy. I don't think he's right, guys. You know, I know he had an injury at the end of last season. I just don't think that this is the same guy that we're seeing this season that we've seen in previous seasons. And so I'm a little cautious about telling you to ever take the over when Dame Lillard's at like 46 or 47 points. Portland, however, they are projected to score 120 points. I could see this being an up and down, run and gun type of game. Both of these teams like to get up and down the floor. They chuck up a bunch of shots. Dame's a combo guard. Combo guards have done well against Sacramento. Sacramento ranking toward the bottom of the league against combo guards. So you got to love that matchup for Dame. And he puts up almost 1.20 fantasy points per minute. So enough about him. I like the under again. I'm just going to keep clicking until he proves me wrong. His partner in crime, CJ McCollum. They're doing it again, guys. They're trying to give us that oh so sweet layup, right? CJ McCollum at 36. Over. I almost don't even want to go through it, guys, but I'm going to do it for you. Here we go. CJ McCollum, 44.25. 44.25. Hello. 42 points over on Fantasy Pros, and let's wrap it up because I'm sure they're going to be over as well. Oh, what a surprise. 45.74, 46 points. Huge overs across the industry on CJ McCollum. I mean, guys, if you're looking for the surest thing, so my locks, they're not always the best. Come on, man. I'm running like 5 days in a row, and I can't get a freaking guy right. But if you're looking for something that's a little less risky than maybe my locks are, this guy's a sure bet to go over 36. 47.7, 50.1, okay, 31.6, right? But are we worried about that? Are we really worried about one game here? One game? 42, 51, 44, 36.3, 50, 62.6, 35.3. PrizePicks loves us because they keep giving us CJ McCollum at 36 every night. I will take it. I will gladly eat that up and continue to click the over on CJ McCollum. Thank you very much. Darren Fox, he was projected at just 33 the other night. I took the over and did well with that. Got that one right. Let's take a look and see where they've got him tonight across the board here. 37.55. So they're right in line with PrizePicks on that 37. Darren Fox over on Fantasy Pros, they've got him at 34.3, so they're still a little low, little light on Darren Fox. But then they got him at 37.69 over on RotoWire, so a couple of the sites are right there with PrizePicks on Darren Fox at 37. So let's open the game logs up. As I said, he was like 33 the other night, but ended up going for 41.5. 12.4 in the one before that, 33.7 in the one before that. So I can kind of see why PrizePicks may have just had him at 33. Maybe the hamstring that was bothering him around this time in this 3-game stretch. Maybe that was part of the reason why he was just projected at 33. But take this little 3-game stretch out of the equation here, and let's talk about when De'Aaron Fox is feeling good and healthy. 41.5, 42.3, 37.4, 50, 48. His involvement in this offense is very, very, very high. He is a high usage guy for this team. 33 minutes is his projected total tonight. They are looking at 116.5 points as a team. He's a combo guard. Combo guards do pretty good against Portland. The Portland backcourt is more of a scoring backcourt, not a defensive backcourt like the Raptors. So these guys, McCollum, Lillard, they're not really looking to guard you. They're looking to outgun you. They're going to win by scoring more points than you are. So that's that. I think that's their game plan most nights is, hey, we'll make it up on the offensive end. You know, if we let De'Aaron Fox go by us or shoot over us or whatever the case may be, we're going to make it up on the offensive end. At least that's the plan most nights. Anyway, De'Aaron Fox, 1.11 fantasy points per game. And I told you he's got a pretty high usage rate of 29.53. So very, very much involved in this offense for Sacramento. So there you have it on De'Aaron Fox. The 37 is a tough call. It's a tight one, but I don't think I'll touch him. I think he's a fade for me. But you let me know what you think. Who did I get right? Who did I get wrong? Do you agree with me on anyone? Do you disagree with me on everyone? You might, based on the way that things have been going around here lately. We've been so close at hitting some of these big 5-pick plays and getting, you know, some of the bigger names and the stars right. I mean, it's just been a couple of points here and there most nights. Last night was a bit of an anomaly. We'll throw that one out the window and try to move on and rebuild from last night's losses. But you guys drop a comment below. Let me know who you're loving, who you're hating. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for all of the subscribers. Thank you for all of the likers. Thank you for all of the commenters. Thank you for all of the sharers. All the ers. Speaking of which, Share this video with the entire world, and let's get back on the winning track tonight. We'll see you next time, guys. Peace.